When Sony first released the A7S III, they also introduced Cfexpress Type A. Really fast, high-speed, compact cards. The problem was they were and are expensive. And while now you can get much higher memory cards than you could when they first came on the market, they get prohibitively more expensive as you go. Then last year, Angelbird released the 1 terabyte Cfexpress Type A cards. I immediately went out and bought 2 of them, even though they were $500 each, and I've been using them pretty much daily in my FX6 ever since. On every shoot that I've had with the FX6, these have been the cards that I've been using. They have been fantastic. They were really difficult to get a hold of. I don't even think that Angelbird realized the amount of demand there would be for a third party to offer a card solution. And now there's some other third-party card solutions out there that are good, bad. They might be depending on the price you get, and you kind of take your chances with some of them. But now Angelbird is back with the new 160 and 330 gigabyte versions of their Cfexpress Type A cards, and they come in at $180 and $250 respectively, which is a really good price considering what you get with the Angelbird cards. Now, in full disclosure, Angelbird did send this 330 gigabyte card to me, but they're not sponsoring this video. They don't sponsor my channel. They don't send me free cards. Well, that was the first time they've sent me a free card, but every other Angelbird card I have purchased myself because I like them that much. You have to know that I have almost exclusively started using Angelbird products in all of my different pieces of equipment. I have them in my smaller drones. I have them in my action cameras. I use them in the Pocket 3. I use them exclusively in my FX6. I've bought a couple of the 1 terabyte Cfexpress Type B cards for the Canon R5 Mark II that I'm now shooting with. So I use a lot of their products, and honestly, I probably would have bought one of these 330 gigabyte ones even if they hadn't sent it to me, just because they are so good and they have been so reliable for me. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why not just get the SD cards, especially the V90 cards, which do work really well and read up to 300 megabits a second. But that's not necessarily their sustained speed, and that's quite a bit slower than the speed tests that I've run on the Angelbird Cfexpress Type A cards. If you see here, these are the speeds I was getting with the Cfexpress Type A cards, which means you can offload your footage, and that to me is the biggest reason that I started using all the different Angelbird cards, even these little micro SD V60s, is that I can offload all the footage that much quicker, which saves me that much more time. But another reason that I started using Angelbird exclusively is because of their reliability. I've heard that some people have had issues with these 1 terabyte cards. That's unfortunate. I have not, and I've been using them pretty much daily, like I said, in my FX6 or occasionally in my A1 when I needed to shoot on that, and they have been rock solid for me. But if you're concerned about it, one of the things that I like about Angelbird is not only do they manufacture all of their own products in Austria in-house, and they design them all in Austria in-house, but they also offer a data recovery service. If you go onto their website, take the serial number off your card and register it. It's quick, it's easy. You set up an account and then you have all your products registered, and it tells you exactly how long you have on then the 3-year warranty, where if something goes wrong with the card because of a manufacturing defect or other, you can send it to them and have them recover the data on the card. That to me is worth a ton, because if I ever have an issue with any of the cards, knowing that I can send them to the Angelbird and there's a good chance that I'll be able to get the data off the card without just losing it completely is huge when you're working on client shoots, or even just when you're out in locations where it's spectacular and you're filming something that you really don't want to lose the footage for. Hey, if you're enjoying or getting value out of this video, then consider subscribing. My goal is to help solo creators like myself make good decisions when it comes to purchasing gear and teach you skills and tips you need to be able to use the gear you already own to its fullest potential. Generally, I go out and test stuff in Alaska where I live, and I put it through the harshest conditions that I can possibly find to see just how good new gear is. Subscribing's free, doesn't cost you anything. You can always unsubscribe later. All right, back to the video. But another reason that I've started choosing to work with Angelbird cards exclusively, other than the cards that I already own from Sony, is that they are so cost effective. I can buy a 1 terabyte Cfexpress Type B card for my Canon R5 Mark II, and it runs just a little over $200. That is a huge amount of storage and very fast storage for the Canon R5 Mark II. And you might be thinking to yourself, Jake, I don't need that fast of a card. I don't need the Cfexpress Type A speeds. Hold on. You might more than you think. If you are out there doing sports photography, wildlife photography, or shooting the highest quality, highest frame rate videos available on modern Sony cameras, then you're going to want that Cfexpress Type A card, not just because of how fast you can offload those photos and that footage, but because of how fast it clears the buffer. Even if I'm using the SD card, the V90 SD card, it takes more than double the amount of time for the camera to clear the buffer if I'm shooting in high-speed continuous mode. When I was testing the A9 III, it would have taken forever to clear out 120 frames a second when I'm holding the shutter down for 2-3 seconds, basically until the camera buffer starts. But with the Cfexpress Type A cards, you are able to clear that buffer within a couple of seconds, even if you've completely filled the buffer with a couple hundred photos. 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds later, the buffer's completely clear and you're ready to start doing whatever else you're gonna do. To me, somebody who does go out and shoot wildlife occasionally, that's really valuable in being able to make sure that buffer clears and being ready to shoot the next set of burst photos that much faster is huge. But also, like I said, being able to offload the footage and the photos that much faster just makes my life so much easier and so much faster, especially when it comes to these little tiny micro SD cards. These are V60 as opposed to V30, which is the normal ones you get. While these little micro SD cards are not cheap, I'm able to offload the footage from these in more than double or faster than double the time, or half the time, however that would work. It's more than twice as fast to offload the footage off these little SD cards. And the same is true when I'm using the Cfexpress Type A cards. A couple of things I like about the Angelbird ones is not only do they have some of the highest sustained read and write speeds, because while it says, up to 820 megabits a second, although the new one says 820 megabits a second, that doesn't necessarily mean that is the sustained speed. So when you look at all these cards, they might say that, but then they might slow down over time, especially when you're doing burst shooting or something like that. So you want to be able to sustain a high read and write speed. Testing the Angelbird cards, they do sustain even higher than what they say, a very high sustained read and write speed, which means these are going to work really well for you over the long term. Now, of course, there are links in the description to the cards directly from Angelbird and from B&H. I don't get any affiliates from Angelbird directly, but I do from B&H. Now, if the 1 terabyte cards are any indication, these might be a little hard to get a hold of or a little hard for Angelbird to keep in stock. So if you're going to order some, I'd recommend you do it sooner rather than later, because these really are a great deal for a rock solid card that is backed by a great warranty. Next, you're going to want to watch this video right here. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or join my live stream, which happens most Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we can have more of a conversation. I can answer questions maybe I didn't get to in this video. I'll see you again soon in the next one. Cheers.